Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, thanks for joining us. And always something new and fun going on in the world of elections.
It sure is.
Early voting is currently going on for the County Commissioner District 2 race. That will go through Friday, and then that election is October 17th, which is kind of crazy when you think that early voting actually starts on the 16th, which is Monday for the city municipality elections. So
early voting starts for today for Tootle?
It's been going on all this week and since last Wednesday, actually. I know.
Wow.
Yep, for the runoff. And and then early voting starts on the 16th for the city elections. And so the interesting thing, Bill, is that for early voting, you would have to go to two different locations to vote for both David Tootle and your city person, because they're not. You can go to your regular precinct for Tootle on Tuesday, but you actually have to go to an early voting location on Monday and Tuesday next week in order to vote. Early voting for the city election. So
makes perfect sense.
Well, it's the first time that this has ever happened in the history of these elections, according to Billy Wooten yesterday at the Board of Elections meeting. So kind of an interesting thing that they're dealing with. Elections, the way that the districts are cut up and everything between the city and the county and different municipalities is kind of messy, very messy for the Board of Elections. So there's that, and then actually an incident happened in Pooler where.
Now this is interesting.
Yes, so there was a city council person that is going to resign, has kind of made that forward, except for they have not given their actual letter of resignation yet, but they replaced that seat on Friday without really letting anyone. From what I understand, someone had already decided who was going to be put in that seat, and they are currently running for office. We are less than 45 days from the election, and don't know why we have to fill that seat, especially when we have not received that full letter of recommendation yet. I believe he was supposed to make a statement yesterday, but haven't heard that yet. So kind of interesting. People are really upset because it gives someone a leg up because they were put in that seat, and there were plenty of people running that could have been put in that seat and weren't. So kind of interesting, but the Board of Election actually has no authority over the city elections. It actually goes to the city clerk. So we'll see how that plays out. It'll be interesting. They keep it as complicated as they can to keep everyone frustrated.
That's right. They say that you don't want to see laws and sausage made, and this is one of the reasons why.
Yes.
It's just pathetic. What is also pathetic is what's going on right now in Israel, except the Israelis have really decided there's no more Mr. Nice Guy. This is a country, I was there almost 20 years ago now, doing my radio show there, and this is a country that is so accommodating. These people are so friendly. They are so active, and far as they're well educated. They are innovators. They are in technology and also in medicine and things. That, they have wonderful surgeons. Their pilots go up against our pilots all the time and usually run circles around them. They are accommodating to any religion. There are Arabs living there. These people that they're killing their own people when Hamas is struck. There was a German girl. It was a German family that was taken hostage, I believe. They've had and so they're killing their own people in many cases because there's a huge Arab population. There's not a place that you can mention. In fact, the Mormons were building a temple there when I was leaving. So there was the Mormons were there, Christians are there. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They are very accommodating. And it's a very small country, and your enemy is right next door. They just built their wall when I was there, and I had a tour with a wonderful guy that I've stayed in touch with over the years, Jonathan Davis, who's one of the executives of one of the big universities over there, IDC, Herzliya. And he gave us a tour of the wall and telling us how it was done. And imagine your next door neighbor is your enemy. That's how closely they are. He said, did we want to build this wall? No. Did we want to spend the money on this wall? No. We wanted to spend it on education. We wanted to spend it on infrastructure. but we had to build this wall because we were obligated to. And when they built the wall, the walls don't work. That
Right.
we keep hearing. Terrorist attacks in Israel dropped 98%. 98% when the wall was finally built and completed and fully operational. Somebody said, well, you can dig under it. Okay, they have sensors that show somebody digging under it. They said, well, they could climb over it. A 20-foot wall sells 25-foot ladders. No, they had watch posts all along the wall. Anybody that puts up a ladder is going to be taken care of immediately, if not sooner. So I don't want to hear any of these excuses and how well it has worked and how good these people are, and they don't deserve these monsters, these barbarians. And it's actually giving them a compliment. It's actually insulting barbarians to associate them with this.
Yeah, and we do have some of the footage from yesterday as they do go after the Gaza Strip.
Taking back the Gaza Strip, this is just unbelievable.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Bill. There's a lot of questions about how did we not know this was happening? Israel is known for their intelligence. We rely heavily on a lot of their intelligence. And I heard some interesting conversations yesterday about how the U.S. government sets its priorities. And when we're prioritizing domestic terrorism against parents going to school board meetings and pronouns, this is the type of stuff that happens. And it's very concerning to me that we are unfocused and unserious as a country when we're in very interesting times.
Yeah.
To say the least.
That was a curse from the Chinese.
Yeah.
May you live in interesting times. Yeah, well, there's a curse.
Yeah, thanks. So, I'm concerned that our priorities are not where they need to be. There was information that came out that, there was some serious issues and that this could potentially happen. But the president is the one that sets priorities. And when you have a president, just like Lizzie Warren is saying, that Biden keeps confusing Ukraine with Israel. So behind the scenes, people are very concerned, and Milley is barely showing up to these meetings.
Yeah.
So our country is unserious at this point. And I don't know about you, Bill, but this is the most I've seen around the world at one time. I mean, granted, I'm, in my 30s, but.
And and I'm in my 70s, so and I don't remember this either. And you can bet that the Chinese are salivating over this and rubbing their hands and looking at Taiwan once again.
But here's the other thing. I'm also reading that over the next 14 months, we are going to have terrorist attacks in major cities. There's reporting coming out now that we have Syrians coming over the border. That terrifies me, Bill.
Yeah.
And we don't know who's in here. And a lot of the people coming in, I hate to break it to you, everyone's going to New York, Chicago, California. Yes, Florida's getting some, we're getting some, but the majority are going to those other bigger states that, guess what, are Democrat run. So,
Yep.
The advice that I'm hearing is people stay out of the cities for the next 14 months. I am a little bit concerned. We do have a big port here. It's a big deal and could make us a target.
In 14 months? Hopefully we'll get a real president again. That Donald Trump will be reelected and for the third time, and will actually reelected for the second time, and take over. Because we have got to get this thing straightened out, and we have got to start deporting these people.
Well, and Trump, he did have a rally over the weekend. A lot of people showing up for those rallies. It's amazing how people are still showing up for him, although he, lost an election to Biden, who can't get 5 people to show up in a crowd.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can't, and you wonder how could 80 million people be really that stupid?
Yeah.
Because it didn't happen. But now that we have this thing, it is getting. How bad does it have to get before we do something? Dan Bongino's been asking that for some time on the radio now. How bad is it going to have to get before we finally do something? And what if we see something like this happen here? All of a sudden, these Syrians that are coming across here start pulling off these shenanigans.
Yeah, and this is what Trump had to say to Biden about Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who could imagine a war, right? With people pouring into our country and we have no idea from where they come. The same people, in many cases, the same people that just attacked Israel. You know that, right? Can you imagine what this guy has done to us, what he's done to us? That would have never happened. The attack on Israel would never, ever have happened. The attack on Ukraine would never have happened.
I spoke to a guy before this, and he said America first. You weren't happy with that.
And the thing is, Bill, is I think when you look at this is all of the things that people said were going to happen under Trump.
Yeah.
We had, maybe not world peace, because I think that there's always going to be conflict, but I do think that we had stabilization, and that's the best we can hope for in a world that is so diverse, right?
Exactly.
And it concerns me that we have people looking at what's going on and saying, go Hamas.
Yeah.
Paulina Luna out of Texas. Mm-hmm. She's out of Florida, isn't she? She's a congresswoman. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But she's a congresswoman that has been very strong on the border, and she released a video yesterday that, it is gut-wrenching, because what they did to women and children, which is who we should be protecting, mm-hmm. What they've done, they went after those women, they kidnapped them, and 11 Americans have been confirmed to die over this, and we don't know how many hostages they have, let alone how many American hostages they have right now. But this is
hundreds of innocent Israeli women tortured and brutally murdered by Hamas terrorists. Hamas carried out bloodthirsty attacks against Israeli civilians, among them hundreds of women. Many were taken hostage and paraded through the streets of Gaza in horrific scenes. No woman should have to experience this evil. We all need to stand united against these barbaric acts.
So that is definitely pro-Israel, but how can you have people saying this is okay, this is what we should be doing?
Exactly.
I saw little kids in cages that they had kidnapped.
Mm-hmm. Where's the Time Magazine people?
Where's AOC?
Yeah.
Kids
mm-hmm.
in cages.
Kids in cages, yeah.
Where are you, AOC? She's mm-hmm. And guess what? She's part of that whole crew that's pro-Palestine.
Yeah. How about Tlaib that's got the Palestinian flag hanging in front of her office?
It's disgusting.
She should be impeached immediately, if not sooner.
It's disgusting.
And send her over there.
Yeah. Well, and Lizzie Warren says, oh no, Biden is serious about going after Americans who disagree with him. Mm-hmm. The Trump years were some of the most peaceful in my lifetime. Steve Stanton says Florida. And then Lizzie Warren mm-hmm. says, well, Biden will give Hamas money for the American hostages, creating even more carnage from U.S. dollars. You're correct. What happened to we don't negotiate with terrorists?
Yeah.
Like, what happened to that? That used to be a U.S. standard, and now it seems to be kind of what we like to do.
Yeah, it's like they're playing this monopoly. I'll give you Boardwalk and Park Place for the Reading Railroad and the utilities. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and you have these protesters that are pro-Palestinian, and they're cheering on. You saw the gruesome photos that were. And those aren't even the worst ones, because we cannot play them on streaming channels mm-hmm. because we will be taken off the air.
Right.
So those aren't even the worst ones. And the young woman that was in the back of the truck that they tortured and killed, she's actually a German. She was there for the festival. Mm-hmm. What they've done is just horrific, and I don't know how people can cheer this on, but here they are.
Yeah.
I spoke to a guy before this, and he said America first. You weren't happy with that. Why?
Israel would not exist without America.
So no America first for you.
No.
Are you an American?
Yes.
And you don't want to put America first?
No.
I don't.
What the hell are you doing here? Listen. There's no out-of-gration quota in this country. Anybody's free to leave. So get out of here.
That's the other thing. It used to be if you hated America, I mean, people were going to come after you.
Yeah.
I mean, where are all the proud Americans? And I believe that there are still a lot of us. Don't get me wrong, but I think that we're
still in the majority, and let's put it and let's start acting that way. The media is trying to give you the impression that we are the minority. We are not.
No, and I think that, when you look at everything that has happened since Biden's taken over, it almost feels like it's all planned. I mean,
Well, it was because even his former boss, the Dalai Lama, even said, never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to f things up.
Well, I couldn't have even imagined.
I couldn't either.
This in less than 4 years.
I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't know it was going to be this bad. It was almost like I refer to a degree to the COVID shutdown. How in God's name did we shut down the entire world in almost 3 weeks? I mean, it was unbelievable how this happened.
Well, but also, Bill, you have to remember that we have taught people to be sheep. We have not.
Yeah.
We have not taught people to be thinkers. We have not taught them that they need to stand on their own 2 feet. We've taught them that they need to be coddled. If people hurt your feelings, you need to have a safe room in colleges. This is what we've taught people.
Yeah,
so
right.
every time the government says jump, they say, how high?
Well, and to a degree, and you mentioned your age a while ago, I can remember we trusted our government. We trusted our police force. If we saw Army guys or military people walking around, if they had their weapons with them in a public place, that wasn't a concern to us like it was in other countries. You would be nervous if you were in Romania and military officers are walking around with M16s and whatever, or M4s. And we trusted our government. We trusted our police. I can remember Bayer aspirin advertising a big deal about how Bayer aspirin was this great product, and the two ladies are talking about how great Bayer aspirin was, and this study that just came out, and she says, and this study was paid for by the government. And any questions? Says, nope, not for me. I'm going out to buy Bayer aspirin.
Yeah, see, and for me, like, I don't trust the government, and I haven't for a very long time because of what we've seen happen, especially since 2020. It's like, oh, these people are crazy.
We grew up thinking that like the FBI and all these other organizations were. I mean, we said those words with reverence. That they're coming for the bad guys. They're going to protect us. And now we're having to fear them like in other countries, in socialist and communist countries. All right, coming up next.
With everything going on in the Middle East, Kevin McCarthy is open to running for speaker again. Imagine that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more when we
Bless
get
his
back.
heart.
Just Apple. So I thought we could talk about
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. and just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Whittle it away at a far more rapid pace.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
Yeah, welcome back, and glad to have you aboard. I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And you just got a little glimpse of what's going on over there in the Middle East right now.
Yeah, and I can't imagine living in turmoil like that, Bill. I mean, I can't. And here's the thing. So I'm going to get to Steve Stanton says 9 died in the last days of Afghanistan. The same will be done for them as the 11 Americans that died this weekend. Nothing. Lizzie Warren says, honestly, I feel like the USA is the bad guy on the world stage. And Dean Burnett says, looking good, everyone. Thanks, Dean. He's on vacation. He is normally the producer on our show. So we have Drew Smith actually running our show this weekend, a little bit of next week. So
yeah,
thanks to Drew. But Bill, Speaker Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker McCarthy, came out over the weekend, and he's, saying he would be open to running for speaker now with everything going on.
But he said he's not running for speaker.
Well, this is the thing about Kevin McCarthy. He always says one thing and does another. So I think that this is something we can expect from him. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I think that Kevin McCarthy has a history of flip-flopping on everything he says.
Yeah, that's the whole issue. And these people, what gets me, Brittany, is I'm trying to figure out why we're saying why though this turmoil here in Congress. You have a speaker pro tem, okay? So
everything's fine.
Let him run the show. Let him make you still conduct business as usual, okay? We have a mayor pro tem here. And they take over when the mayor's not there, show up for the mayor when he can't do it, to give the key to the city to somebody. This is embarrassing that the Republicans can't figure this out. And to get this thing straight, we ought to have they said they're going to have an election for speaker tomorrow, and put in Jim Jordan or Steve Scalise, one of the two.
Well, and I heard that. I haven't verified this, but I have heard that Steve Scalise, does he have cancer?
Yeah,
he's going through treatments.
He's going through some cancer treatments, yes.
So that concerns me, and just because the speaker is a very high level job, there's a lot that goes on. I do think that Jim Jordan is a better fit right now. I like Steve Scalise, but
actually I like Jim Jordan better either way.
Okay.
I like Steve Scalise a lot, but Jim Jordan is the real firebrand. He is a guy that goes after these people with a vengeance, and when they're not towing the mark and not obeying the Constitution, and he is the guy. I don't think he owns a coat, but
yeah.
But he is the guy.
Well, and one of the things that does concern me about Jim Jordan that he came out and said was that he would do another CR. I'm not okay with it. We have till November 17th to figure it out. You guys should be able to vote on the rest of the bills to fund the government. We do not need another CR. We need to stop doing this.
Start having. You have to live under a budget.
Yes.
We have to live under a budget. Congress should have to live under a budget. Georgia lives under a budget. South Carolina, Florida, Alabama, and we're in Texas. We're doing just fine. Now, okay, we can't fill some positions. All right, we need another 200 state patrol. We need this, that, or the other. But we have to stay within our budget, and when we can afford those people, we'll hire them.
Yeah, well, and I'm all about downsizing. So cut the people that are non-essential. That if the government shut down, we wouldn't need them. Maybe those people need to be in the private sector.
Yeah, and get the job. They could fill the highway patrol jobs. They could fill the jobs that we need to have done. Rather than being non-essential personnel. How would you like to be called non-essential? You don't have to
I'm sure
show up
that's
to
good
work
for your
today.
confidence.
Yeah. You don't have to show up to work today because you're not essential.
Yeah, well, we all saw how that worked out during the pandemic, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did.
But Kevin McCarthy called for bold action, Bill. And
bold.
Yeah.
The very first thing we need to do is rescue the American hostages. Secondly, the leader of Hamas is reported to be sitting in a 5-star hotel cheering. President Biden should demand his extradition now. Third, the United States must reinstate the maximum pressure campaign against Iran. Fourth, we must focus on our own security. This just wasn't a failure in Israel on their intelligence community, it was ours as well. Fifth, as we look inward, we must confront anti-Semitism in the United States. Do not let anti-Semitism grow. Confront it and deny it. Condemn it.
Hundreds of innocent Israeli women.
So with Speaker McCarthy coming out, I do think that is important, the anti-Semitism and things like that. We're seeing people in Congress that are openly anti-Semite.
Yeah.
And one of the other things, Bill, is that I saw in Australia pro-Palestinian protesters out there saying, "Gas the Jews." I'm sorry. What is wrong with people? I don't understand it, Bill.
Good question. Excellent question. That these people are out there, and once again, we've shown you that they're even talking about killing their own. They're killing their own people, because this was you figure they weren't all Jews at this music concert the other day, including the German woman. There were other Palestinians there.
Well, do you know how many Americans I know that have visited Israel just this year? Because it is such a special place to so many people.
Without a doubt.
I mean, I just don't understand it, Bill. I'm having a hard time comprehending it.
I loved my trip. I would love to go back. It is beautiful. It's fun. That there are great things to see and do, and to walk in the places where Christ walked. To see all of the things that go on there. We were at the Dead Sea initially when we got there, and had a chance to the late Mike Manhattan from WTOC and I were on that trip, and we got to swim in the Dead Sea.
Wow!
And it's amazing because you pick your feet up and you're floating. They always tell you about. I always say about that. By the way, don't open your eyes underwater unless you have on goggles or something. you won't forget it. But it was just an amazing experience to be there and to see the beauty of this place. To go to Masada, one of the most sacred places on the planet. The Jews who protected themselves from the Roman soldiers and then all committed suicide so the Romans couldn't have a victory. It's just unbelievable the places that you'll see. And the things that are there, and the people, and Jerusalem is such a gorgeous city, and I mean everywhere you go, you can drive from one end of the country to the other in about 2 hours. It's that small, I
Wow.
mean, that's a trip to here to Jacksonville or Charleston.
Yeah, it's very small.
Yeah.
You could walk that.
Yeah, you could.
I mean,
Yeah.
really.
And the diversity, you go from the lowest place on the planet, which is the Dead Sea, and go to then you go within a half an hour's drive, you're in these mountains where they have ski resorts. I mean, it's just incredible. It is a beautiful place. These are beautiful people. They are God's people, and for these savages to come in here and brutalize and terrorize people and start murdering them, and like Mexican cartels or something, is just disgusting, and they should be wiped off the planet. I'm sorry. God was pretty strict about that when he told Moses and others when they were going into the new Promised Land. The Promised Land was occupied. He said, go in, get rid of those people, kill them all, get rid of them. That was the message, and the message now to be these people: get rid of Hamas, kill them all. Sorry.
Well, and Lizzie Warren said Biden demanding anything from the rest of the world, and she has a bunch of laughy faces.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stephen Staten says Kevin's an embarrassment. He's irrelevant. And Lizzie Warren says Hamas knew the retribution would be swift and brutal. What's their end game?
I can't. Yeah, and I can't understand the breakdown of this. If the Wall Street Journal knew that something like this was happening, why didn't the rest of the intelligence communities know about it?
They knew it's it's what the priority is, and I think that's a huge issue that we're seeing in the U.S. Our priorities are not in line with what we should be focused on.
No, they're not.
And this president has done a terrible job in multiple areas of the country, and I don't know. We still have a year and a half. Like, I'm a little bit.
This is scary.
Well,
this is extremely scary. They have to replace this guy. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
But here's the other thing. The reason that I'm so against Kevin McCarthy running again is because he did not. What has the House achieved? Why is Mayorkas not impeached? Why are we still funding the DOJ? Like, we need to start getting brutal because the country is at stake. I don't understand if people realize how serious this is, but what they've done to the border makes us very, very much a target for these terrorist attacks to happen here. And here's the other thing. Those people, I think that they're only allowed to own like one firearm and I think 50 bullets in Israel. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true. But those people could not defend themselves against what happened. I don't know what we're going to do, Bill, if we start having these attacks in every city, because we're going to be...
You have to take the law into your own hands, unfortunately. We're going back to vigilantism.
But that's the other thing. If you do that, are you then... This is the way our government's working. Are you then someone that was involved in a hate crime?
Well, so be it. Okay. Call me a hater. All right, coming up next.
Well, we'll be talking about the border and the impact that it's going to have on us here.
Yeah, that's it coming up.
Oh my gosh. Holy cow. There's a huge set over here. You can tell this area is used majorly. They'll come and actually cut these. Somebody left their snacks. Look at them. Look at all of them down there on the ground. This one tied off. Well, if nothing else, I can get them through. Make it so they can't at least use this one. There's two more. It's too many. So that's the 5th ladder so far today. This is right at that point where I actually caught that group climbing over the wall last time. Told them to go back. They didn't care because there's nobody here to stop them. Called it in and back. The other way, realized I missed two more ladders. So this is number 6 and number 7. Shout out to Patriot Mobile. Support companies that support the values you believe in, like securing America. PatriotMobile.com, promo code RAV. Came a few miles down the line. I'm going to try to throw the drone back up and see if I can catch any of these guys coming over. It looks like Sundays are very busy days. Have 7 ladders already, just on about a 3-mile stretch. There's one of the guys right there. 341. Another guy sitting under the tree. Oh, there they are. There's the group. There we go. That's the next group coming over, guys. Coming to America. Well done, Biden. Group, it looks like 6 right there. Definitely not happy that I'm here. All covering their faces. No, I'm sure they're good guys, you know. Good guys always cover their faces before they break into your country. These are the guys President Trump called bad hombres, and he was right. And now the Democrats are inviting them in. Oh yeah, that guy's got dope. That definitely looks like a dope pack on his back. All right, they're heading out. Look at all of them, man. There's a bunch in there. So we got 2 or 3 heading off to the other side. Now we got these guys heading back out. One of them clearly had a dope load. We got a couple guys hanging out under the trees. Clearly, though, there was a bag of dope on one of those guys' backs. And you got the other 2 guys going up to meet up with them. 3, another guy with a big, large backpack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. At least 14 that I can count. We got these guys moving east. I got these guys moving west. And the only reason is because of my drone. Otherwise, they would have crossed over already. Because there's nobody out here. But all they're going to do is walk out through the desert. They're going to head out that way through the desert. Find another of the 1,000 spots to cross, and later today they will undoubtedly be crossing. And this is how you always see it. You'll have guys that just want to come over and know that they'll get deported if they get caught, and then you have the other guys running the drugs with them. And the guys that are just crossing over are basically the sacrificial lambs for the guys running the drugs. They create the distraction in the hopes that they can get the drugs across. But the cartel is getting paid on all of it. It's crazy, guys. It's national suicide.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934. With personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like
rather than my skills. I want to be judged by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended by my coworkers and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard on this Tuesday morning. And you just saw the part of the problem at the border. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, the fact that he is going, Ben Bergquam is probably the best on the border.
Without a doubt.
And the fact that he's going through and pulling ladders, I mean, unbelievable how many ladders he pulled that day. And also...
would say 7 within 3 miles?
Yes.
7 ladders within 3 miles.
And the fact that he can
and
point
nobody
out...
there. He's all by himself.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He is by himself. And those people, you could see the drugs. I mean, they have this all figured out. It's down to a science how they come across the border.
Right.
And like he said, the only reason they didn't come was because of the fact that he had his drone. So they just basically walk probably a few miles and come over anyways. So
yeah, without a doubt.
Mary McCann Hybrider says restrictions. Lizzie Warren says it's not Biden's fault. It's the fault of every Biden voter, some of whom are Republicans. And Steve Statton Sr. just posted a clip of him scratching his head. Like, what is going on here? I'm with you, Steve. I am not really sure. It's interesting. So I've, been out door knocking and stuff over the past several weeks. And last night we actually talked to someone who is a registered Democrat. And, she started talking about how she doesn't trust either side, all the things that most of us feel. But she also said, I don't think that we should let everyone over the border, but I definitely think that a lot of them should be able to come here. And she does not understand the reality of the situation that we're in at this point.
Why should we allow them to come?
Because they're seeking refuge.
We have a process to come here, okay?
It takes too long.
There's a process.
It takes too long, Bill.
But
we live in the world of instant gratification. Those people should be allowed to come here and enjoy America immediately.
Yeah, and you should pay, and I should pay for it.
Well, and here's the other thing, Bill. Not only that, they need to assimilate. And if you don't want to be an American when you get here, then you shouldn't be here.
We've talked about this on when they try to make this stupid correlation between the immigrants that came here through Ellis Island back at the turn of the 19th and 20th century, and what's going on now is ridiculous. I remember, listen, I went to school with and was in college with all the college protesters when the riots were going on. It started off at Cal Jerkley and all those other places, and they were trying to compare them. They had the unmitigated gall to compare themselves with the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Said, do you know what happened to the signers of the Declaration of Independence? Do you know? The Kent State incident where those kids were killed during a riot by National Guardsmen, and the parents are saying, "Oh, I didn't know the National Guard had real bullets in the gun." What did they think they had? Those guys were protesting. They were throwing things. They were calling the National Guardsmen evil names. They were throwing lethal weapons at them.
That's not protesting.
Yeah,
that's rioting. That's different.
Yeah, exactly. And they said that if you are a protester, learn the fact that you could get killed, you could be hurt if you're going to protest. And that's what our revolution did. We were protesting. We said, we asked the King of England, we'd like separation. We're too far apart for you to rule us from over there. And back in those days, it was, if you wrote somebody a letter or you sent a message across the ocean, it took 3 weeks to get there, if it got there at all.
Yeah.
At least 3 weeks. So and if to get the response, we're talking 3 weeks back. So we're talking.
So much can happen in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah,
Bill?
it really can. So
maybe
now we're
6 weeks
talking.
even.
Now we're talking about 2 months.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. And these people said, we're not going to stand for it anymore. We came up with the Articles of Confederation. Said, look, let's just separate our countries. It's been nice, thank you. And the king didn't go for that.
Well, and
we started the revolution, and we knew it was going to be bad, and it was.
Well, that's the other thing, Bill. I don't think people realize that the things that are happening over in Europe, while they are terrible, they've been happening for centuries. We take land. Like you said yesterday, no land is actually in the ownership of the rightful owner, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that people also have, it's this utopia that people think that we can get to, and it doesn't exist, Bill. I think that people need to live in a more realistic worldview than they do currently, and I think that that's
you
a big
can't make
problem.
a perfect world with imperfect people.
No. And Mary McCann Hybreeder says, according to the Wall Street Journal, Iran's Revolutionary Guard officers have been working with Hamas since at least August to devise the highly coordinated multi-model air, land, and sea attack, a wide front producing the most spectacular breach of Israel's borders since 1973. I've also heard that. I also heard that they've probably been working on it a lot longer than that because of how coordinated it was, and also because of all the money that we have funneled through Iran. And people are saying there's no proof that the $6 billion went to Iran. Well, I'm pretty sure that the timing of everything just kind of fits, doesn't it,
It
Bill?
really is. The money is fungible.
Yeah.
And they get money elsewhere. And when it looks like, so if I go to the bank today and said, look, I need $500,000 for something, and I just won the lottery. I haven't been paid yet, but I just won the lottery, so I've got $230 million coming in. They said, yeah, no problem.
Well, and here's the other thing, Bill. So let's say we didn't give them the $6 billion, which we in fact did for terrorists. We still, because of Joe Biden suspending our production of gasoline and stuff here, we've been supporting Iran. Where do you think we buy oil from?
Yeah.
Our enemies. So that's exciting and fun. So we have still funded this no matter how you slice it.
We're funding Russia's battle in the Ukraine war because Putin is now selling his oil at $85 a barrel.
Gosh.
If we started flooding the market again and getting that price down under $30 a barrel or more, that money would dry up. Their supplies would dry up because they wouldn't be able to make these huge profits to buy all this equipment, to buy all this ammunition and everything else that they have to do.
Bill, and I just don't know if Americans have the wherewithal for what it's going to take for us to get back to where we need to be. I know a lot of people have not sacrificed a lot, but we're going to have to start sacrificing a lot of things in this country in order to get our country back on track, because we cannot rely on China. That has not worked well for us, and it's put us in a very bad situation. We cannot rely on Iran. We cannot rely on Russia. I mean, it's destabilized the world for us to do so.
And we haven't. The last couple of generations have not had to sacrifice anything. I grew up, right after I was one of the baby boomers, and we didn't. I remember Mom talking about the fact that they had to ration flour, rubber, getting car tires. That's when retreads became popular because you couldn't buy new tires. All that was going to the war effort. A copper was going to make ammunition for the war effort. Pennies were made out of zinc. So if you get a penny that was made like between 1941 and 1945 or so, it's black. If you can find one of those, it might be a collector's item now.
Yeah.
Collectors might pay a lot for it. But the pennies are made of zinc because the copper was going to make ammunition, and also to the war effort. All the supplies were going up. So things were rationed. Sugar was rationed, and you had to go buy it. And people were playing what they call victory gardens. You were growing your own food in your backyard. Remember they tried that in Michigan during
COVID?
During COVID. And,
not allowed.
And the Governor Whitmer, just reelected by a landslide, you dumbasses, didn't let you buy. You were arrested if you tried to go buy turnip seeds.
Well, and so growing up with certain people in my life that grew up in the Great Depression, they had money hidden all over their house. They didn't believe in the bank. I was like, you just have they literally had shoeboxes full of 20s,
full of money,
which you always would like to see. But it was a different time. And I think that, people that have served in the military, which my father did, no sacrifice, because there were times when my mom couldn't go with him. He had to go alone, and our family could not go. So there are sacrifices that people have made in these generations, but as a whole, we have not. And I think that we're spoiled as Americans. And Lizzie Warren says most of our meds are produced overseas too, which is a problem. It's a big problem.
I don't understand the logic. Okay, it costs more to make stuff here because we pay people a decent wage. We don't have children and all working.
Isn't it called
factories.
slavery?
Yeah, I believe it was called slavery.
Oh, weird. I thought we were against slavery in this country.
Yeah, we used to be. We came up with the child labor laws because factories and all were using kids that were 8, 9 years old working in these factories. We said that's got to stop. So our prices are a little higher because we were paying people a decent living wage, whatever it was. And now they said, well, to make things cheaper, we'll send. When COVID came along, I must admit I was naive as well. When I found out that China was making over 80% of our prescription medicine, I almost fell off the couch.
Well, these are the things that we're not aware of, right? That the government really doesn't publicize, and I can't imagine why. It's unpopular. But going back to the border, one of the things that Mary McCann Hybreeder said is the border invaders are military-aged men. This is very concerning. And you're absolutely right,
They're not coming in with families.
No, and the footage coming out of there is just, it's video after video, and you're right. It's all military-aged men, and we have proof of that. Let us in. Let us in, they say.
Yeah.
This is them rushing the border at night.
Demand it, and what, bad as it is, we're hearing about have you heard about the Army-Navy game where people are being, their hotel reservations that they made months ago have been canceled so they could put illegal aliens in those rooms?
What are we doing in this country? What are we doing?
Yeah, veterans being thrown out of their homes. So we can have room for aliens, and then they come here, and when we give them food, and they say, we don't like that food. Well, tough toenails.
Well, that's the other thing. They think, and in their mind, we are very wealthy because of what they come from, but we're not made of money here in the U.S. Like, a lot of us are working, and here's the thing. When you look at how Europeans work versus how Americans work, there's no comparison. You have people working 12, 14-hour days sometimes, not everyone, but there are a lot of people that have to work that in order to have the life they want.
Well, look at the protesting in France because they've raised it because Macron wanted to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64, and they're rioting over that.
Well,
and look at the auto workers right now on strike because they want a 4-day work week and they want a 32% raise.
Me too, Bill.
Yeah,
Me too.
I do too.
But who pays for that? Exactly. And I don't know about you, but everyone's got to live on a budget these days.
Yeah. In fact, I was told that, and this statistic is years old because Paul Harvey was talking about it. So when you buy a new car, said about $8,000 of that car goes for benefits to the auto workers.
Wow.
$8,000 of the price of that car is for the auto workers' benefits, so their medical, dental, the whole bit.
That's the thing. I think labor unions had a place, but I just don't. But I just don't see it now. I think it really does put a stranglehold on the corporate entity or the business, and it makes it very difficult for them. And I think that people should be allowed to make those decisions for their company, but really they're beholden to these labor unions in some of these markets, like car manufacturing.
Yeah, and you talk about how poor they were in these other countries, and that was another thing that we use as an example for the free enterprise system. Said a young boy delivering papers in America makes more money than like 90% of the rest of the world, and that is the rewards of our system. And they always say, well, you're so rich and we're so poor, as if it's our fault that we're so rich. It's their fault that they're so poor. When you live under dictatorships, when the blacks took over in South Africa, the communists took over in South Africa, that country's gone to hell in a handbasket. When it used to be Rhodesia right next door, Rhodesia was feeding most of Africa and exporting a lot of food to the world. When the blacks took over and the communists took over there, they started killing all the farmers, and they're putting people on these farms and say, okay, you grow the food now. Well, these people didn't know how to grow food.
No, it's not as easy as you think either.
Yeah,
there's a science to it.
Yeah,
turns out.
Yeah. I heard the haughty John Kerry, old Boltneck, saying, telling farmers, just put the seed in the ground, and water it. No, it's not exactly how it works. You got to know when to put the seed. You got to know what ground to put it in. You got to know what to grow. You got to know how to do it. You know how to nurture it. You can't overwater it. You can't underwater it. It is a science. And if you've gotten in the habit of eating, which I did as a young kid, I don't know about the rest of you, you kind of want food to be there, but somebody has to grow it.
Well, and speaking of communism, Ben Bergquam, after being at the border, decided that he'd head on into California.
Oh, good.
And he documented his experience going to the communist state of California.
Oh, there you go.
Forgot we were in California, and I stopped to fill up. $125, $6.99 a gallon.
Isn't that crazy?
Unbelievable. Isn't it insane? And that's coming from somebody here at the gas station. Oh my. It's insane. Trust me. God bless you. They get it. How you can't live in California anymore. They voted this shit in. They voted it in. They voted Biden in. They voted Newsom in. Let's go, Brandon. We got a let's go, Brandon from the gas station. The lady who works at the gas station. Let's go, Brandon. Unbelievable, guys. Don't vote for Democrats. Whatever you do. I mean, unless you just like burning money. Don't vote for Democrats. Okay, one more thing. I don't want to get this guy in trouble back here, but he's definitely on our side. I'm not going to show him on camera. He's on our side. Good dude. He's actually the one filling up the gas. Not going to say who he's with or where he works. But, by the way, $6.99 a gallon is not $6.99 a gallon. That's $7 a gallon. Mid-range, $7.30 a gallon. Expensive stuff, $7.60 a gallon. It's $8 a gallon in California. And the voters voted for this. These radical environmentalist, hippie, liberal idiots that want everyone to drive electric cars, but they forget that you got to plug those in and get the power from somewhere. Stop voting for these idiots. Stop. This guy's awesome. It keeps bringing things up. So they don't actually care about the gas prices because they don't want you to be able to drive a car. It's all the climate change, all that garbage. By the way, but they're filling up the jungles with garbage as they're inviting more illegals across the border. These are the same people. They're all hypocrites. They're all liars. You got to vote them out. It's good versus evil. These guys got to go. It's just, gas is high, but that's not what it's about. It's good versus evil. It's time for the good people to rise up. I just got in the car after putting $125 in because I'm back here in California. And it's still not filled up. The car's not filled up. Get me the hell out of here. And while this is happening, we're inviting more illegals in to make the prices of everything higher. It's just, guys, if you're dumb enough to keep voting for Democrats, you deserve this. For the rest, take your state back and take our country back. And all while that's happening, one of the biggest Border Patrol checkpoints right here on Freeway 8 out of San Diego is closed because those Border Patrol agents are processing the illegals that Democrats are inviting into California.
Great to be a Democrat, isn't it?
It must be.
Yeah,
it must
for real.
be.
Just incredible what we're having to put up with, and unfortunately, he said, like I said, well, you voted for this, and don't vote for Democrats. Well, the rest of us have to live under this, and another reason that the prices are so high in California is that they have those boutique gasolines. In some places, you have to make the gas like this. In other places, you have to the gas can't have this, and so that
increases the cost.
Yeah, and because we haven't built a refinery in almost 40 years, the refinery has to shut down to make that particular type of gas. Then it has to retool and make another type of gas. So that's the reason that this keeps going on. But with that, we've solved today's problems. We're going to be back for the Wednesday edition tomorrow for Hump Day.
Yes, don't forget to become a donor. You can advertise with us. We still need your help. And, become a member. We're going to be doing some special shows for our members. That's just Bill and I, uncensored, maybe a little less polished, if you can believe that. And we'll have some fun.
Polished. Less polished.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. Tell all your friends. Stay real. Remember, you can't spell Democrat without R-A-T.
Have a good day.